Sean,
How are you?
doing well.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Good.
Getting the angle from the car. All right, we should be live now.
Great.
Let me, if you guys want to grab links to the bio. I don't have much in the meeting notes, so I don't know if you guys. Um, Hopefully, we can have a short meeting today. We should note that Sean Roy is unavailable today, so he said to go ahead and proceed without us. And one thing we might as well do is just chat about. I guess I'll go ahead and put it on here as well. Is meeting day and time.
Yes, agreed.
I emailed about that, but we can just chat about that real quick. So yeah, John, if you want to jump in and do the Sobo recap, how did that go?
Yeah, so the Cerebral Festival went okay. Let me see. We had like a sign up list for our email list. Most people had never heard of us. A lot of people had questions. A lot of people had heard of Bitcoin, and they were like, wait, there's Bitcoin stuff happening here? And
Nice.
so we got
Cool.
like a ton of signups for our email list. Just rough estimate, I'd probably say somewhere in the 20-ish range. So not
Awesome.
not enormous, but our current list is like 80 people, so that's pretty big.
That's a big bump. Very cool.
Yeah, a lot of people asked questions. Some people that didn't sign up for email still said they'd keep an eye on us and find us on Meetup. Ran into a couple people who are members. What's his name? I think Brandon is his name. Works at Emma.
Yep.
Yeah, and then ran into Eric O'Reilly. So I had a conversation with a few different people. So it went really well. It was some good publicity for us. Channel 4 News was there, but they didn't come over to our table, unfortunately. But yeah, we were kind of at the end next to like all the pile tables of like free stuff and next to the Comcast booth. But yeah, so anyways, but it was a good little event. Got some publicity for us. So yeah, and
Did you
Sean
end up
and
printing
Angela.
out a sign? Did you have like a little piece of paper with our logo on it?
Yeah, well, I had an email. I had this email list sign up that had the Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance logo at the top, but then I
Nice.
also had Bitcoin accepted here stickers and Bitcoin preferred here stickers, and like put those out. And at first, I was just thinking those would be like catch people's eye, but a lot of people actually wanted to take one, so we gave away a lot of those. I guess
Cool.
not even most of them weren't business owners, so I imagine like to put on their laptop or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, awesome.
So that went really well. Yeah.
And then non-profit filing update. Is that something you want to do?
Yeah, I added that to the agenda because I heard back last night. I just got a message from LegalZoom last night and this morning that it's an automated message, so it doesn't go into too much detail, but that our order has been completed, which most likely means that all of the paperwork is done, and that we may officially be a 501c3. They've shipped the actual package with the final documents, signed by the state and all that kind of stuff, to our box at. Oh, this is something I don't even know if we discussed on a call. We needed to give them a physical address for the organization. So I had just recently opened a box at the UPS store, which accepts Bitcoin. And because it's different than a PO box in that you can use it as a physical address, and it looks just like a suite number. So we use that for the address of the organization for now.
Okay. What is that address?
It is. I can copy it in the minutes if you'd like.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Now, that's something you got to pay for. I mean, there's a monthly fee with
Yeah,
that stuff.
yes, it is. But I'm already paying for it for my because I recently filed an LLC. I'm doing some business of my own, and so I got it for that reason. And I'm just use the same address when filed for the 501c3.
Okay.
So I'm fine with donating that for now. That expense, and then once we have an address, or once we need a box specifically, like once we're getting actual mail, for the organization, then maybe we can revisit splitting that.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I just put the address in the minutes.
Yeah, and so we actually have like a tax ID number and all that stuff now, right?
Right.
So is there an action item that we need to We need to switch over to? Do we need to switch over to the Google accounts to use the nonprofit, or is that already being taken care of?
We need to. Okay, so when I applied for a tax ID, I discussed this with Sean offline after the last meeting. Although we do have a nonprofit tax ID now, because it was an automated application, there was a disclaimer at the end that said, hey, you can use this for things like opening a bank account and getting some discounts. but it'll be a good 30 days before you can use this to actually like verify your nonprofit status, which is what Google will be looking at if we apply.
Oh,
So,
interesting. Okay.
so if we applied right now using that tax ID, we'd probably get rejected.
Okay.
So I would say we should wait a couple weeks because they said wait 30 days before you do that.
Okay.
That's what the application from the IRS said. So. Yeah, so once I get the final those documents for the Sean,
Yeah.
your address was also listed on there, as our whether it be I don't remember what exactly under what heading, but registered agent or something like that.
Right.
So I'm not sure whether they mailed the package to my box at the UPS store or to you. So keep an eye out for it. Let me know if you see it.
Okay.
And then once we have that, I'm fairly certain because they said they didn't say anything about errors with the application. That typically means that it's already done and accepted and everything. So once we get that, we'll have a little bit more information.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're becoming a real deal. Yeah. So that's that. Any other, I guess, questions or comments on that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
As far as meeting day and time, we just discussed this last week. If I think originally we thought like a lunchtime meeting would be good. I think Jesse wanted that, and so now that it's just the four of us, we realize there's a lot of flexibility to move it around, even at night if we wanted to. So I know, Sean, you've missed out on a couple meetings, and so really I think between Sean, Roy, myself, and John, we have the most flexibility. And so we were thinking basically work around your schedule. Is there a day or time that works best for you? Sean was kind of suggesting a Monday or Friday would be a better day as well, because having it be Wednesday, often he's found he's already booked his whole week and he doesn't have extra time to like get stuff done. But if it was a Friday or a Monday, he'd kind of plan ahead and say, okay, these are the things I'm going to get done, and put it in the calendar up front.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. My schedule is up in the air. I don't have a day when I could always guarantee reliability be available. But Friday afternoons, mid-afternoon, I don't want to keep anybody too late on a Friday, but maybe 2 or 3 Friday afternoon, I'm pretty reliably available at that time, I think.
Yeah, I think that would be really good for me as well. I mean, sometimes I'm on a hangout with the team or whatever, but yeah, I think
Don't you guys do like 4 o'clock drinking hangouts on Friday?
sometimes, yeah, it's not as consistent as I would like it to be. It depends on how the week goes, I guess. But yeah, we do, because we got a full virtual team, so sometimes we'll just chill and grab a beverage of choice and hang out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would probably be great Friday afternoon. I'll run that by via email and we can finalize that. But I think that's a good idea.
Okay, yeah, right now that would work for me. I'm gonna try to. Right now, I've got like my reoccurring meetings are really spread out, so I'm gonna try to consolidate them. If we go with Friday, then I'll try to move some of my other meetings there, because I've got like a weekly meeting for some of my business stuff with my brother, and that's on Thursday. Mastermind meetings on Monday. Anyways, I'm gonna try to. Yeah.
I know all about that. I got plenty of meetings on Thursdays and Mondays and everything. But yeah, I think that'll be good. And then hopefully, this is all volunteer stuff anyway, so hopefully that'll line us up to think, hey, I could do some of that this weekend, and hopefully get some of that done. And then, I think it would still be a good idea to probably either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday send out a reminder email about the notes, and so I'll try to do that as far as the action items for the week.
Great.
To remind people like, hey, we got something coming up on Friday, so we got to-do items and things like that. So, all right, cool. I'll follow up with that as an action item.
Okay.
And then did either of you guys get a chance to look at the SOP in more detail? I'm looking for the link, and the way, man, they make this so confusing.
Yeah, I did look at it. It starts with SOP, I believe, instead of action team. I had a hard time finding it at first.
There
too.
it is. Yeah, SOP. I got it. Okay.
Yeah, I looked at it. I think it looks great. Just a couple comments you might note, and I'm not where I can type these into the minutes, so you guys.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Just a couple real quick comments that I had. One is it references executive officer, and I think we mean executive director. So just a real small tweak there. And then secondly, the only other thing that I had, and I'm sure we'll think of other things as we roll this out, and this will be a document that we'll probably need to go back and revisit, maybe amend from time to time. But the one thing that occurred to me is, what happens when an action team has a deliverable? So, let's say we delegate to the website team to do X or to do Y. we say that I guess any public-facing stuff needs board approval, so presumably they wouldn't be making changes to the website without running that through us first, which would be great, but it didn't really specify a process for that. And maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't know what that process looks like yet, but I was just thinking eventually we'll probably want to flesh that out a little bit more as to how they go about reporting back, what format their deliverable should be in, or that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, I think that may be something that has to be action team specific.
Yeah, very well could be, because it could look very different from one team to another.
Right.
Yeah, but I think you raise a really good point, is that should be one of the requirements of having an action team, is that you've defined that. Like that, I think that's a really good idea. Just say, hey, for our team, this is going to be our process as we kind of form ourselves as an action team for a specific project or an ongoing, process that's being done. To say, these are the type of things that we're going to be delivering on for this particular project, and this is the way that we're going to, verify that or go about getting approval for that, or, because this is the same thing we were talking about before. What level should the board be involved? We don't want to micromanage.
Exactly.
We also need to make sure that we are protecting the brand, because that is our responsibility, because that brand impacts the organization and the members of it. So I like that idea to say we're not going to necessarily put it into the SOP, but the fact that you have to then define it, I think would be a good thing to say.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, and I think it's definitely good. And I know we need to flesh that out a little bit. We probably need to start with a model for a specific action team to see because I think until we do that, we won't really know what's actually missing out of the generic one until we actually try to create like a final document for like the web and design action team, for example.
Yeah.
I'm planning on spending some time over the next week or so putting together more clear communication between myself and any volunteers for the public relations, the community and membership team, because I want to start having a more clear process for planning our meetups and other events and stuff like that. Because right now it's like, basically if you have an idea, you talk to either Luke or me or Sean, and then it might happen. So I think that it'd be good to have a more clear communication there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty. Yeah, I always feel like whenever I'm doing any kind of programming or anything, I often will take, do it custom one time, do it custom a second time, and then by the third time, I'm like, okay, I kind of understand what the similarities are, and I can bring them together. So I think it would be good to take what we have and actually try to implement it and see, does it fit enough of these? And if we could do that 2 or 3 times, I think we'll have a better feel of if this document meets our needs.
Makes sense.
But I think it's a great start. I think it's definitely something we can adjust over time as needed. But I would like to move forward with this and say, okay, hey, you want to build an action team, this is the start. Give us feedback on how we should improve it and go from there.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Great.
Cool. So it sounds like, just to put this in minutes, it sounds like we're kind of approving this with those changes that Sean mentioned, and then just add another item to say, hey, we would also like you to define how you're going to do deliverables and who's going to be responsible for that, whether you feel the board needs to be involved as an action team, or whether you've got your representative that talks to the board, the action team leader, if they're going to have a process for presenting what the deliverables are. But I do think that would be good to have. But other than that, it sounds like we're pretty good with this. At the bottom, last time we talked about the definition of action team roles and responsibilities. We've got web and design, legal and policy, community and membership, and that's it right now. Are you going to fill those in as well, John? The rest of those entries, just as like.
Are we talking about the action team SOP?
Yeah, we're still talking about that.
Sorry, I don't actually have that in front of me. Could you shoot me a link real quick?
Yeah, let me drop that here in the chat.
I have the agenda in front of me, but not that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I haven't. I remember that being a task we talked about me specifically doing for filling in the roles and responsibilities for those. So I can do that based on somewhat based on the working descriptions of the teams we have right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought that might have been something that you. Yeah. Finish out the descriptions for action teams for SOP relating to roles and responsibilities. That's in there.
Okay.
All right, cool. Alrighty. Oh, I guess I should give an update too. I did have a great meeting with Eric Johnson regarding the TTU, Tennessee Tech University project. That was really cool. We had a great meeting yesterday, I think it was, and basically,
I'm not sure Sean knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, I just want to give a quick update. Basically, he had an idea he's working with Tennessee Tech University and with their seniors for their senior projects. He wanted to pitch the idea of doing a Bitcoin-related project for their senior project, technology. So he's got an idea called Bitwells, and they're doing some pretty interesting things about, really going to promote merchant adoption and also give developers something to hack on as far as wallets and blockchain technology and all that. And so anyway, we just had a really good meeting kind of specking it out. It's more kind of fits under the technology arm of what Bitcoin Alliance is doing. But I think where it stands right now is I'm just going to be a resource for him personally from a technical perspective, and we'll call every month or so. We'll just talk it through. I kind of helped him refine the project a little bit so the scope isn't too big. And then also I may end up bringing this, as it gets defined a little bit more, bringing it up to the rest of the community members and some of my programmer friends in the Natural PHP group and other groups to say, hey, there's some great mentoring opportunities here, and also to get your hands dirty as far as it relates to Bitcoin technology.
That's awesome.
So it was a really cool meeting, and I think it went well. As Eric said, it was very, very helpful for him, and I think it should be a model for the type of things we can do going forward as we kind of organize our tech team and what we're going to be able to help people with. But it's a pretty cool idea. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's
that
great.
did go well. And let's see, I'm actually looking at Wunderlist right now to see. Well, here we'll actually go back to meeting notes. We've got yeah. So last week agendas item. That's kind of what I'm going through now. Starting with Wunderlist is probably the best way to go because some of those bleed over. So we've got some alias email addresses, some action team meeting descriptions. I think those are both on Sean Roy.
Right, the one with no profile images. Sean.
Yeah. I'll leave the one on there about emailing the group because I'll do that. Looks like that'll be a Friday afternoon is what we're talking about.
I think, yeah.
And then John, if you could reach out to the Global Bitcoin Alliance, that might be cool.
Yeah.
With them, see what's up with that.
Yeah, and then we'll need to flesh out this stuff.
Cool.
The next thing we really need to do, and I think right now this is on Sean, but I think the next major thing we need to move forward, and I'll touch bases with him, is put together that get the action team together, or action teams, to put together a proposal for membership levels, because now that we have a tax ID, our nonprofit status is more or less coming through as far as we know. We've got a website. The next big thing to implement will be membership levels.
Yep, and it's pretty cool that already a couple of people in the community have said, hey, just tell us where to send the money. So
yeah,
that's actually really cool. And we've got a wallet set up now, a multi-sig wallet. I think things are in place to be able to do that.
We're making progress. Yeah.
Yeah, it's slow, but hey, this is volunteer too. So if there's money coming in, we might be a little more motivated. Not that we're not all intrinsically motivated, because I know we are, but yeah, there definitely would be a little more juice to get things moving and hire people to do stuff if there's funds to do that.
Agreed.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I had a couple things that aren't on the agenda that I wanted to mention real quick. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Let me just double check here. I went through Wunderlist briefly. There's a couple more items. You guys have access to that. You can look through that as well. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, that looks good. Yep, go ahead.
Okay. First, Sean, are you aware of the new meetup in your area? The new Bitcoin meetup?
No.
Okay. I will send you that information. Because you're in Knoxville, correct?
Right.
Yeah, there's a new meetup they call themselves Bitcoin/altcoin Knoxville, Tennessee. I reached out to them. I haven't heard back from the organizer, Christian Alexander, but I did reach out to him and said, hey, and told him what we were doing and suggested we connect. But yeah, I mean, it's brand new. They've got 9 members in the meetup, but I thought it'd be good for you to connect there. Because I've also been able to connect with the Chattanooga meetup, and they're going really well. They're reaching out to students now on campus at UTC, as well as there's other smaller universities in the area. They meet at the library right now. I mean, their last meeting they had like 7 or 8 people there. So it's still small, but that's awesome. You know, they formed on their own volition and then just connected with us and asked for some advice about what to do.
Right.
So we want to move forward once these groups get a little bit off the ground. I think it would. I think we discussed this briefly via email or last time.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of the Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance. Oh, that's right, Sean, you weren't here. What we'd like to do is actually come on essentially as a quote-unquote sponsor. So the Tennessee Bitcoin Alliance, like our logo would appear on their meetup page as like the meetup sponsor, and we would help coordinate organizers from each meetup to get together on a video call to share ideas and plan out their agenda and calendar in advance and have more successful meetings. Rather than be a bunch of independent units, they would be cooperating in that sense.
I love that idea. You know, you could even provide them with specimen agendas and that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it could be. I mean, we could even actually do. I mean, if we get a really great topic or a really popular topic or a really good speaker or something, we could even do like a multi-location single meetup event. So like everyone's meeting in different locations, same time, and via video, the speaker's just in one location.
Right.
Something like that.
And the bistro has that ability if we were to sponsor that as well.
Yeah.
So very cool.
Yes. So so I think that's definitely something that we should look into a little more. Sean, I'm sending you a link to the meetup in the Hangout chat just with you.
Okay.
So if you want to connect there, I would recommend reaching out. I don't know if it doesn't look like they have a meetup, an upcoming event scheduled, but the fact is there are some people in that. So.
Oh, that reminds me. For our meetup here in Nashville, we should make sure we get that figured out. I think Bill said he's going to talk, but we also have that other option as well. So anyway, John, you and I should coordinate on that, make sure that happens.
Yeah, let's definitely do it. Let's figure that out and coordinate that and plan ahead. Also, on a similar topic, we discussed meeting more than once a week when we were first forming the organization. Mm-hmm. And we discussed meeting at that Red Riverwood Mansion for like the think tank meeting, and we haven't done that since we elected the board. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, well, what do you think about the idea of scheduling another meeting there to try to get as many people to come as possible to focus on another sort of like planning think tank meeting and focus on action teams so that right there we can like in person split people up to different action teams, start working on job roles, responsibilities, and descriptions, all that kind of stuff.
I think that's a great idea. What John is referring to, Sean, was the meeting we had where we kind of elected the board, where you got elected. But yeah, I think that would be great. I think it would be cool to make it, if possible, a hangout as well, so we could make it remote. People could join in.
That'd be good.
It'd be nice to have our membership levels figured out by then too, and make it super easy for folks to sign up and pay with Bitcoin while they're there. So
that's a fantastic idea. Yeah. Oh, and I did talk to, well, Sean's not here, I'll comment for him on this. He found a plugin that's designed to essentially handle membership levels that integrates with Coinbase to accept Bitcoin. So he said he's going to play around with that. Before we actually have like membership levels, he's going to set it up on the website just for the free membership level to make sure it works and make sure we like the interface. And then at that point, we just tell the plugin what membership levels we want and what the cost is, and it's ready to go. So the plugin itself costs like it costs a certain amount monthly. I think but it was less than $20. I think it'll be worth it based on what he was describing. I'd like to see it first, but
sounds great.
Cool. All right, so I think based on that conversation, those suggestions that Sean you just brought up about membership, I'm gonna wait to schedule a Riverwood Mansion meeting until we can get some kind of membership level put together. If we can focus on putting together our membership level propositions and get that together, then we can schedule a meeting and get the organization off the ground. I think that'd be fantastic.
You already have an action item for that to create the team that's going to work on doing those membership levels, right?
Yeah, it's been designated for Sean, but I'll touch base with him.
Okay. Yeah, he said he was really busy this week, so
yeah.
So I'm going to put another action item in there to plan and coordinate another think tank meeting, but that will be dependent on the other things, so we can bump that down as far as the timeline for it.
Cool. Sounds good. Great. I mean, that's all I have.
Cool. That's I think that's all I have as well. Yeah, as long as we get together. Actually, I'll just go ahead and put an item on there just to make sure Luke and John get together to plan the Nashville meetup.
Oh, yes. And then I just remembered one other thing. Sean, did you ever receive any feedback after I sent the bylaws out with your contact information?
Probably. I still have not taken the time to get my email set up, so my inbox is probably flooded.
Okay.
I'll try to do that by the end of this week or this
Okay.
over
Okay.
the weekend.
Because now that we're a nonprofit, we should have a meeting where we formally adopt those bylaws because we haven't done that yet.
Right.
And where we sign them and such. So I just want to make sure because in that email I did say if you have any feedback, send it to Sean King, our general counsel. So I just want to make sure that we're taking that feedback into account before we have that vote. But
Great point.
cool. So once you do check that, let us know if you hear anything, and then if not, or if it's something that we can account for, then I think we should probably at the next meeting where we can get all four of us in the same meeting. I think we should formally adopt it there.
Yep.
The bylaws.
Makes sense.
Yeah, let's definitely make sure that we check that for feedback, though. I want to make sure we're responsive to anything there.
Of course, yeah. Would you add an action item for
Yeah, it's on there.
approving bylaws? Okay, great.
Yep. Action item for me to set up my email too.
Yep, also on there. So both of those are on there, so we should be good. So yeah, cool. I like I said, I don't really have anything else. We can make this a short meeting. I think I agree with you, John, that the next major step is, forming the first couple action teams, officially using that outline we have, figuring out what the levels are going to be, getting that set up. I think that would be great.
Cool.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right, thanks a lot.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Peace.